Today's Mercedes-Benz interview of the day brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Luxury SUVs now come with the luxury of choice. You can check out the E-Class SUV at your local dealer or at MBUSA.com/special offers. Look who joins us now. It's John Salley, good buddy of the show. Let me give the proper introduction. First player in NBA history to win a championship with 3 different franchises, as well as the first player in the NBA to win a championship in 3 different decades. John Salley back on the program. Look at that's a young Michael Jordan T-shirt you got on there.
That's right, with gold teeth, man. He was going back to it.
Yeah, but you didn't have that when you were with the Pistons. You wouldn't be wearing a Michael Jordan T-shirt back then.
It's so funny, Dan. Hey, thanks for having me on the show. Long-time listener, second-time appearance. What I would hang with MJ. So when I was doing my first late-night talk show, I was doing it during the season in 1988 because I thought I was setting it up for my future, which I was. My second-year player, but I would hang out with MJ. He would come into Detroit. I'd pick him up. We would go eat. You know, in Chicago, he couldn't really do anything and hang. But I always been around money. I loved it. Still to this day, I love him to death. But, you know, my teammates after my first season made sure, hey, if they're not wearing our colors, they're not our gang. And so it took me a second to learn it.
But did you catch heat from Isaiah or Lane Beer, anybody else that you were hanging with Mike?
No, because I didn't let them know I was hanging with Mike. One time, right, my first Thanksgiving in the pros, right around that time, we're playing against the Hawk, and Kevin Willis comes in town. He's from the D. Everybody go over to his mama's house. I show up. I then drive them back to their hotel. They beat the living out of me the next day. And Bill Lambert says, they're not your friends anymore. We are. And I never forgot it. So I learned how to separate friendship and being a Viking. I learned how, or a Raider, better put.
But if you look at the image, the persona, personality of the Bad Boys, was it more Isaiah or more Lane Beer?
Whew. It was these two together. I know it sounds crazy, but that's why they were our 2 captains. They led just like that. It was a well-oiled machine. We knew the hierarchy. We knew how it worked. We had these 2 generals, and then we had this really quiet secretary named Joe Dumars. And then we had this unbelievable sniper coming off the bench named Vinnie Johnson. And then we had our grunts. It was me. It was Dennis. It was Rick Mahorn. It was James Edwards. Mark Aguirre came in and was special units. I mean, we literally ran it like that.
But if you look back on the players that you played with or against, you got Isaiah.
Yeah.
Kobe.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
So if we're going to
Shaquille.
Okay, we're going to rank those. I'm going to give you the first pick in the draft. You can have Zeke, Mike, Shaq, Kobe. Anybody else you want to throw in there?
Yeah. So the first player I would draft would be out of North Carolina.
Okay.
The next person would be Isaiah Thomas. And then I would get Shaquille O'Neal. And then I would do what Jerry West did. And I would find this kid in high school who has the potential to be. I'm telling you, Isaiah is the toughest guy, one of the toughest guys I ever played with. He's maybe 6'1", and he can do it all. And he had to.
He's underrated, John. I think
he's way underrated.
Yeah, I really
way
do.
Underrated.
Yeah, and I think
he
his
just got
attitude.
The short end of the stick.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I think attitude, the way you guys played, maybe it turned people off with embracing him, but he wasn't afraid of a big moment, whether it's with Bob Knight at Indiana or certainly with you guys.
It didn't turn people off in Detroit.
No, you guys love that. But elsewhere,
Right.
It's weird, though. We embraced Michael around the league. You
Right.
guys were never embraced around the league. We embraced Larry around the league. We embraced Magic around the league. Never embraced the Bad Boys.
You know why? Because the manuscript on it was Magic and Bird, and then all of a sudden, first it was, hey, how do we get out of this Dr. J situation? And they have Magic. and then it's Magic and Bird, and it's the Celtics versus the Lakers. Let's get that going. And then when they put the Messiah in Chicago, they thought it was going to be this guy handing off to this. He's going to be the next run. But as Mitch Albom, the great writer, put, this little team in the middle of the country, out of the city that no one was paying attention to, messed up the picture. So the picture at one time looked like Van Gogh, and then when we got there, it looked like Basquiat.
Good reference there. Good
reference. Good reference.
We're talking to John Salley, the former bad boy, won 4 NBA titles. Best player in the world today is who?
Might be Joker. But Luca last night changed everything. When I said, I didn't know, you don't know that much about people. When I went to Europe, I was amazed. And then playing with Tony Kukoc, let me go through this. You remember Tony, just like Isaiah, is not recognized as he should be. Tony Kukoc is one of the greatest players that ever played this game. But because he was in Chicago, we didn't get to see it. We get to see it. If you go back and start paying attention, it's amazing. And watching Luca reminds me of Tony Kukoc.
Really?
Yeah, man. Tony, left-handed too. I mean, he was doing things trying to, make Phil happy, make everybody else happy. But if it would have just been left up to left up to Tony, I'm telling you, man, the guy is an unbelievable player and doesn't get the credit he deserves because of the Jerry Krause, this is Jerry Krause's boy type thing. It wasn't understanding the genius of Jerry Krause putting it together. It was he's trying to bring this kid in and get out of our way, get past us. But watching Luca last night, just thinking about it, I didn't know his father was a pro basketball player in Europe. I didn't know he started playing pro at 17. Tony Parker started playing in France at 15. And we complain about guys who go, man, that guy should go to college. We don't even realize, no, that guy should go to work. And that's exactly what Luca's dad did, exactly what Tony Parker's father did. It's exactly what Jelly Bean did with Kobe. Those guys were at work 15, 16, 17, ready to do a man's job in the league.
Yeah, and Paul George talked about this on a podcast recently of we have today's players in the United States playing AAU. And all that is there's not a lot of structure to it. It's AAU ball, whereas these basketball players in Europe are going to basketball academies. This is what they have with soccer. Therefore, they're playing professionally, and they start at 15. And they're learning how to dribble, how to shoot. Everybody does. Whether you're a big man or you're a guard, everybody's learning footwork fundamentals, whereas our players are just out there playing, in this AAU team and then that AAU team. And so, lacking the structure that soccer players in Europe get, basketball players in Europe get.
Yeah, like even in Brazil, right? You can see when you're watching them play soccer, a player from Brazil and a player from mid-Africa. You can tell their cadence and the way they dribble the ball with their feet. And when I went to play over in Europe, I played for Panathinaikos in Greece for about 6 weeks. It was a different mentality. It was 7 teams in the city of Athens. Olympiacos was our biggest rivalry. And I'm telling you, 7 teams in one city of Athens, 7 around surrounding. And there's a newspaper just on sports. There's a newspaper for news, right? Then there's the political talk, but then it's just on sports. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, this is fun. I'm going to go here and go there. Man, I went places they said, hey, we got this nice BMW for it. And it had this logo in the back. I had to find out where I can get gas because it said Panathinaikos. I pull in one place, they would do me like this. You better find a Panathinaikos gas station. Everybody was so intense on how it is. And you really look at Giannis. Giannis moves to born or grown in reared in Greece, look at his ability to play basketball. If you watch his movie, he got a great movie on Disney Plus, you will see how those coaches are serious about the fundamental of movement. The problem is American artists, American kids have always come from the dust. Elvis Presley, James Brown. You just find it, you use natural ability, you get to it. Those guys are taught it, and then they put their twist on it.
You can have Joker or Shaq.
Shaquille.
Hey, you at least gave a little pause there.
Joker is one of the best on my podcast. Oh, I got a new podcast too. Okay. You know, I'm not as big as you with 400,000 affiliates, associates throughout the country on radio.
It's called the John Salley Podcast. Yeah, really creative with the title there, John.
No. It's called TFU. It's it's called TFU. You guys go and figure out what that means, because we're on a company on this joint.
Yeah.
I had the John Salley Podcast because I couldn't think of a different name. I was thinking, who has a great show? Oh, Dan Patrick show, John Salley show. Hey, I'm not too far off. The reason I hesitate is because Joker plays bully ball, is always balanced, does not miss a pass, and by the end of the game, you realize he has given you 20, 20, and 20. That's why I like Joker.
I'm going to give you Larry Bird in his prime or LeBron in his prime.
Larry Bird.
That's a quick answer.
Do you remember? I know I have nightmares. Do you have nightmares?
Yes, I was there in the 80s.
Yes.
I was there.
Me too.
I was there covering. Well, I was covering the Celtics. You were trying to cover the Celtics.
And Larry loved me, man. Larry was so cool with me because, me, Lenny, Mike Brown, we would, Red Auerbach would have us come play in their camp. When Red Auerbach was bringing in guys from country, I said, "You were playing where?" I was playing in Pennsylvania. No, so it was like he was bringing in these grown men who were like, "I want this job," and we were playing every night. Kevin McHale, and I was like, "Oh, they don't even know how much I'm a Celtic fan. They have no idea." But I played it cool. But then Larry would, man, I remember at the end of the game, I had never seen this. Larry had more ice on. He looked like an Eskimo. Like it was like this, and he would talk to you. Ice everywhere.
Why?
And then come out because he had iced his knees, iced his ankles, iced his shoulder, ice on his back, ice on his neck. And he'd be sitting in that locker room just covered in ice. And then the next day, he would come in as if he was not hurting. and just the thing that reminds me of Larry that I saw last night is the way Luca shoots the ball. That hole right here.
Behind your head.
And it's here the whole time. And it's the follow through, and it finds the rim every time. That was a crazy thing when I watched that last night.
Did you guard Bird?
Yeah.
Okay.
Successfully? No. Did I guard him? Yes, but no. This is.
But if he liked you, he probably didn't talk trash to you.
Oh, he talked it all the time. He was constantly talking. Like it was a trip that even I looked at the video when Dennis Rodman's leg gets caught in his neck and Bill Lambert, and he goes down and he's punching Bill. The first person I went to grab was Larry to pull him off, and then DJ grabs me. I said, I'm trying to get him off him. And then we get out the way and I mind my business. Because, at that time, I'm totally not understanding everything. But Larry was, he would talk and he would say, Sal, you better ask for a double team, bro. And I was like, when are you going to keep when are you going to let these people know you're a black guy from Indiana? When are you going to do that? Stop this whiteness. What are you doing?
Yeah, but then he would have been just another black player, according to Dennis Rodman. Whoa! Callback or Isaiah.
Go back.
Yeah.
Go back.
Just another.
Was he so wrong? Was he so wrong?
So Bird would have been just another black player if he was black.
I remember when that happened, right?
I was there. I know. And I was like, oh my God. That was a hot topic though, John, at the time.
Yeah, it was a young rookie saying things, not understanding. Hey, they do the same thing. It's not our fault. Racism is your fault. No, it's always been. They did movies about it, The Great White Hope. It's always been when somebody's exceptional, then they go to their skin color, and whatever skin he's in, that race takes him as like, that's our champion. We did it with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was
You didn't do that with Vijay Singh though, but you did that with Tiger Woods.
Vijay Singh was like, hey man, what kind of brother are you? I'm from South India. His neck was moved.
He's got a podcast. It's called the John Salley Podcast.
No, it's called TFU.
Okay. It's called TFU.
Right, you'll figure it out.
With John Salley.
Yes.
Wherever.
AD and Josh, and you can check us out pretty soon. After Dan gives me the hookup at Peacock, we'll be on Peacock.
Okay. All right. We'll see. I'll talk to people who know people. It's great to see you, John. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you, brother. Man, always.
And good
always
luck.
Love.
Thank you.
All right.
So, John Salley, four-time NBA champ. TFU, do you know what that means, Marvin?
I think I do.
Okay.
I'll tell you off mic.
That's what I thought. Yep. Yes, Tom.
Is that why we couldn't say it? Because we were told to ask him about the John Salley podcast. Is that like language reasons?
Yes. What do you think?
I guess it probably has curse words involved.